Hello there. This is part 3 of the custom PM/IA reinforcement and hero series. Today we will be learning how to make custom abilities. So really quick, I'm gonna just open up my project file, and the first thing you'll want to do is find an ability to duplicate. I like using the scan dart, or ping launcher as it's known in Frosty. So you can just type in scan dart here, go to gameplay, equipment, pistols, ping launcher, and you'll find default ability, SC Trooper, and use scan dart. So the default ability is the scan dart itself. The SC scan dart is the star card, so we don't really want that. And the U scan dart is the unlock. The only two things we need are the ability and the unlock. So what you'll want to do is just right click and click duplicate. Now we're going to be presented with this window. So what we can do here is we can find where we want to save our duplicated ability. So what I like doing is I like going to the A0 mod file, which is our duplicated file or duplicated character folder. And what you can do is you can click on the name of your root folder, which is going to be your whatever your character name is. So you'll just want to select this folder here, and we're going to make a custom folder for our abilities. So you can type in the name of your folder that you want to create. So we'll just type in abilities. You'll want to put in a slash, or a forward slash, that is. So this is the name of our new ability that's going to show up under your character names folder. And then what you put after the slash is the name of the ability itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what we actually want our ability to be. If you want it to be like a health buff, or if you want it to be, say, like a custom like grenade launcher, something like that. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it a grenade launcher. Now, the main grenade launcher in the game is the Barrage star card, and that has a star card ability. But if you want to make that a default ability for your trooper, you'll want to find another ability to duplicate that does not have any custom prefabs or anything like that. So I'm just going to cancel out this tab really quick. I like using the scan dart ability because if you go to this blueprint here, it says PF for prefabs _ weapon ability _ share. That's what you want. You don't want any custom effectors, prefabs, anything like that. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to go and duplicate whatever ability you want. And again, if it's say like a health buff, duplicate that ability because that has some custom parameters that you can't really add to another ability. So what you'll want to do is I'm just going to type in ability slash again, or we're going to name this ability _ grenade launcher, like so. And we'll want to click save. Now, in your log, if you get like an error that says like the file cannot be read, you'll just want to go and try duplicating again, and then it should work. So now we can go to where our folder is, and you'll see we have a new folder called abilities, and within that we have a file named ability _ grenade launcher. Now if we double click that, you'll see it's just like the scan dart ability, and that's exactly what we want. So what we're gonna do is the main second thing we want to duplicate is the unlock. So if we go to the unlock category here, you'll want to click on the 3 dots here, click Find in Data Explorer, which will take you to wherever it is. Right click and duplicate that as well. So we're going to go back to our abilities folder because we don't need to generate anything. We can name this U _ ability _ grenade launcher, like so. What you'll want to do is save that. You can scroll back up. You'll want to go back to your abilities folder, and you'll see you have an unlock ability as well. So what you'll want to do is select that, click on this arrow next to the original unlock file, so it will swap that out. And then inside of the unlock file, this is where we're gonna do some fun stuff, I guess is the way you could put it. So the ability and unlock, unless, like I said, unless it has custom parameters like adding custom health, then you would have to duplicate that original ability. And that's not really related to this next step here. But for any other abilities that are more weapon related, you will have something like an ability, then an unlock file. So those two files, sorry if it isn't that clear, but it'll make sense in a little bit. So the ability and the unlock file are just what kind of link the W file. The W file is the main file that's the most important to us here. So we'll want to go to our unlock. We'll want to find the W file, find in Data Explorer, and then you'll want to duplicate that as well. So we can name it W underscore just grenade launcher. We don't need ability in there. But the thing is, for this ability, we're just duplicating the W file of the scanned art, and that's not what we want, because no matter what we name it, it's still going to be the scanned art at the core. So for the grenade launcher, we can type in Barrage here. We go to Gadgets, MPL, and if you don't have something else in mind, just kind of browse around the equipment folder and gameplay, and it should be, for me, it's going to be SC Trooper 18 Barrage. So what you'll want to do is go inside of the unlock, and then you'll want to find the W file here. This is what you're going to want to duplicate, and we can name this whatever we want here. So I'm just going to name this W underscore grenade launcher and save that. Now, gonna go into our W file, and this is where we really want, this is our core file again for like our ability. If you don't have custom parameters, you want to take your W file and you want to link it within the unlock file here. So if we go back to our W file, you'll find a few different things that are most important to us, which is mainly the weapon firing. So with our weapon firing, we can go to primary file, and if it's not built in like this, it won't have this collapsible arrow right here. So if that is the case, then you'll need to just go to Find in Data Explorer here, duplicate it, link it. But for me, this W file has the weapon firing built into it. So within primary fire, because this is the main source, if you're doing, say, like a main weapon, like a TL50, and you want to edit the secondary fire, look in secondary fire, etc. So what you'll want to do is just browse through these three, the fire logic, the shot, and the ammo. So let's just start with shot. So this is going to hold the projectile file. If we open that up, I don't think I want to edit anything here. But if you scroll down, you'll see this is where a lot of like the damage values are stored. So if you want to buff that or nerf that, you can do whatever you want. It's a little complicated, so I would start out with not trying to duplicate that and edit stuff, because you don't want to make something extremely overpowered. But if you want to go for it, go for it. Just one thing to note. When you're duplicating a projectile file, you'll want to make sure that you link it if it's in the original W file. Sometimes it'll just be in the projectile data file or just the projectile, but if it's in just one of those, just replace that link. If it's in both, then replace it in both of those, if that makes sense. Also in shot, we'll have number of bullets per shell, per shot, and per burst. The main thing is per shot here, because if you want, say, a triple fire, or a two fire weapon, so each time you fire the weapon, it shoots 2 rounds. If you want to do that, then just edit that value there. I'm gonna leave this at 1. And the next thing is the fire logic. The fire logic will have things like the reload time and the rate of fire. So the rate of fire is just how fast you will be shooting the projectile. This is really only important for main weapons, like primary weapons. Doesn't matter as much for abilities, but it might be useful for some of you. And the last thing is the ammo, so the magazine capacity and the number of magazines is what we're going to be looking at here. For primary weapons, to my knowledge, the number of magazines is usually going to be like -1. And the magazine capacity is how many shots it has. So, for example, for ability, it's just going to be a number. So since the barrage can shoot up to 3 grenades, then you'll have the 3 value here. But if you want to change that to say 5 or 4 or 2, you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna change this to 4 just for the sake of the tutorial. I wouldn't mess with the number of magazines, but you can if you want. And so yeah, you can mess with that if you want. And that's really gonna be it for our W file. Those are just the main things that you want to attend to. And now if we go back to our ability, this is where we'll want to mess with the identifiers. Now the identifiers are what separate the abilities from each other. Because if you left the identifier as is, it's just going to act like the original ability that you duplicated it. So even though I want this to be a custom barrage, if I don't change this ID here, it will still just act as a scan dart. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit, but another side note really quick, is the category. So if you go to player ability category, it'll either be left, right, or middle, most likely, or primary if it's a primary weapon, e.g. DL44. So what you'll want to do, if you want to change this, you'll want to look through here. The main 5 used are primary for a primary weapon, middle for the middle ability, left for the right ability, right for the right ability, and pickup for a bottom ability. Now, some of you might not know, but there is a ability slot called pickup, and it's toggled by pressing 2 in game, kind of like Anakin's Retribution. That's a little more complicated, but you'll find it listed as category bottom, but we can't use that normally, so it'd be a lot more convenient just to use pickup. For the sake of a future tutorial, which will be showing how to do custom UI, we'll want it to be in view in the main menu. If you look at the abilities info tab, so I'm just going to change this to middle again for the, or not left, middle for the sake of the tutorial. And if any of you are wondering how to change ability slots, that's how. So yeah, and the main things we'll be looking for to know if it changed is if you have like a custom ability slot or different rate of fire, magazine capacity, stuff like that. So the next thing you're going to want to do is when you download the Star Wars Battlefront 2 Frosty Tools and Plugins collection, there will be an exe file called something like the FNV hasher and metadata tool, or something very similar to that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my search bar. I made a custom shortcut for the application here. This will not be by default. You'll have to find where you installed it and just open it manually. But I have it as the BF2 metadata calculator. You'll want to open that. And you'll be greeted with this window. So we don't really worry that the only thing we'll really be focusing on is this third section, the identifier to metadata identifier converter. So you'll see the input EBX asset identifier and the input metadata type, and you'll have the output metadata identifier. So what we can do here is click random identifier. This is going to generate a random identifier here, and you can, for abilities, you can also use this, because this can also be used for converting IDs for UI metadata that will be used in a later tutorial. and you'll want to just copy this ID and paste it in your ability, your custom abilities. For each one, you want it to have a unique ability identifier. So we can just paste that in, and now our ability is separate from the original duplicated ability. So I'm just going to save this here. You can save it by clicking this third option for the files bar, or you can go to File and choose Save. And we're not done yet because we need this ability to be linked to our reinforcement. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna click Window, close all documents to close all the ability stuff. We're gonna go to Kits, and we're gonna go to our GP. So we're gonna want to go to our abilities section, open all abilities and default abilities, and just open abilities within all abilities. So you'll see all of the abilities that are used by the whatever reinforcement or hero you duplicated. So what we're gonna have here is we're gonna have, let's see, if we go to default abilities, because this is all abilities will have all of the star cards as well. Additional ability houses your star cards and stuff. We can close that. And default abilities is what we're going to be looking at. So we have the ability Sonic Imploder, which is the grenade for the Death Trooper. This is the left slot. And we're going to want to find the, for a little bit of context while I'm going through these, we're going to want to find the middle ability to replace it. You cannot, you really just can't have two abilities that have the same slot, because then you would enable two at once. But if you want to do that, then go for it. It'll just make maybe UI a little more confusing to set up, so I'm just going to do one. So the shared splice, which I believe is the overload ability, yep, this is the middle slot. So what we'll want to do is go to our ability asset. We're going to want to click on the arrow here and replace it, and go to all abilities and do the same. So his name's Splice. We're going to want to replace that, and we can click Save. So there you go. Now you'll have your custom ability fully linked and set up. I don't think I'll be able to demonstrate like a lot of different things you can do with the W file. A lot of that is going to be up to you viewers, because to be honest, I don't know a lot about ability functions, as in like how you can change some values to do whatever you want. So I'm just gonna leave it up to you guys. But yeah, next tutorial I hope to do a custom UI, because it's related to custom abilities, of course. And yeah, I'll see you on the Battlefront.